Morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu editorial analysis for proficiency in English. As usual, let us start with the snippets. The very first one, panel suggestions included. Updated income tax bill 2025 passed in Lok Sabha. There's nothing to learn as such, all simple words, but when you see the word tax, you have to recollect or think of words like impose, levy, impose or levy tax. And also, you have to think of the word exemption. Tax exemptions means there's a rule. Some people don't have to follow the rule. Then we say they have been exempted. All these words you have to recollect. Panel is a collective noun. That also you have to recollect. Suggestions included updated income tax bill 2025 passed in Lok Sabha. Let us go to the next one. You can see a pic and scary one for some people, landing scare. There's one important word, scare. While landing, some scare. Scare means what? Threat. Scary, frightening. I have a severe cold and sore throat. I may sound a little different. Please bear with that. And scary thoughts, very good. Naidu Paidi. When you get some thoughts, you get scared, scary thoughts. And it goes with the landing of a flight. MPs on flight, not in flight, on flight. That is an important preposition. On flight, on board. That you have to remember. And many of our students know MP, MLA, SP, X-ray, FIR. We have to use the indefinite article and. MPs on flight experience nerve-wracking moments. Nerve-wracking, nerve-breaking means the tense moments, very tense moments, and also moment, a particular time we say moment, at this moment, movement, some sort of physical movement we use on campus, on the first floor, on the second floor, all these you have to recollect. And it talks about some MPs must be flying, and that time while landing they had scary experience. And related to that snippet, when you see who is this aircraft, very good Vishnu, flight, aircraft, you have to recollect the rule. What is the rule? Some nouns, singular or plural, they have the same form: aircraft, spacecraft, offspring, deer, sheep, bison, salmon, trout, cod. Yes, at the drop of the hat means within no time, immediately. Let us go to the next snippet. You can see all this pic is not very clear. Plastic thrown everywhere, scattered everywhere. Plastic pollution. Deadlock in treaty talks underlines global shift. Deadlock, an important word. Treaty, an important word. Underlines. Underline, we have got many a time. What does it mean? Emphasize, make something look or sound important. Underline and emphasize. Plastic pollution, deadlock. Deadlock, we have got many a time. Offspring means young ones of an animal. Imagine there's an animal and the young ones of an animal, human beings also, offspring. Offspring means like children, young ones of a particular species. We use the word offspring. Deadlock, what are the other words? Here you can see deadlock, stalemate, cul-de-sac, all these you have to recollect. And also, when it comes to a bottleneck, hindrance, hurdle, bottleneck, impediment, all the words you have to recollect. Very good. Pravalika, Naidu, Vishnu, they have been contributing a lot. Global shift. That means some shift when it comes to dealing with plastic. If you read the article, you understand. And in my opinion, this is an important article. Any article that goes with environment, any dimension of environment could be air pollution, climate change, deforestation, extinction of species, conservation, any topic that goes with environment, ocean pollution, microplastics, very important. You may get as a passage. I strongly recommend read this article. You may get as a passage. Coming to the next one, trade with Russia. US criticism of India is factual but illogical. I have already done one editorial. US has been criticizing India because India has been buying oil from Russia. And why is it double standards? India says whatever the USA says, whatever the European Union says, nothing but double standards, nothing but hypocrisy. Why? And cannot be justified. What is the reason? On the one hand, the USA and the European Union, they buy oil from Russia. They have trade links with Russia, not oil. They have trade links with Russia. On the other hand, they blame India for buying oil from Russia. That is not acceptable, cannot be justified. Against that backdrop, trade with Russia, US criticism of India is factual but illogical. Better word would have been cannot be justified. EU's energy buy during war higher than India's. Look at this. And during the war, whatever the EU has bought higher than what India has bought from Russia, then how can they criticize India? Ah, very good, Vishnu. The UK, you have to recollect other important countries, the Netherlands, the Irish Republic, the Philippines. Other examples are easy, should not be a problem. Here you can see young girls, cricketers, I suppose, one day International World Cup. Harmanpreet hopes to lay hands on trophy. There's one important word, lay hands on trophy. What does it mean? Win the trophy, win the tournament, win the World Cup, and lay hands, put hands on. You should not take literally. You lay hands on something, what will you get? Nothing. Here, lay hands on trophy means what? To win the trophy. That's how you have to look at it. And all of you know very good, Naidu and Pravalika, Vishnu, all these students, aspirant also. Whenever you come across lie, lay, laid, you have to become alert. Lie, lay, lain as an irregular verb. Lay, laid, laid, another verb. Both the meanings are important, forms are important. I've told you guys many a time, you have to recollect. Coming to the main news item from today's front page of the Hindu paper, nuclear threat is sparked, stock in trade center says that. There's one important expression. Have you heard of this any time? Stock in trade. Stock in trade means a typical subject or commodity of a person, a company, or a country used in negotiations. Whenever we talk about negotiations, then a particular person, a particular company, a particular country uses the same subject. Then we say stock in trade. Win, here it means Gita Srinivas, lay hands on something means to win something. I have already said that. Stock in trade, important. You have to learn the meaning. Stock in trade means a typical subject, a typical point used by a person, company, or country at the time of negotiations. Whenever Pakistan talks about deals with India, it has been using the same old card as a trump card. What is that? We'll use nuclear weapons, and that has become stock in trade. Nuclear threat. Pakistan says we are going to drop nuclear weapons, and this has become something like stock in trade. They always say that, and that based on that, this has been used. Important. You have to remember. Opposition protests against SIR calls it vote theft by government. This has been in the limelight almost a month, I suppose. This has been going on. It has been in the limelight. Here it talks about elections in Bihar based on that electoral rolls, and the opposition leader Rahul Gandhi is saying, accusing rather, election commission and theft of votes. And when you see the word theft, thief, person, act is called theft. But these two words we also use goes with British English. Americans don't use these words. What are the words they use? For thief, they use the word burglar. And for theft, they use burglary. Burglar, burglary. These two words you have to know. You have to recollect words like pilferage, Steal, a simple word, stole, stolen. Pilferage means to steal in small quantities. That is known as pilferage. Protest, you have to recollect all the words we have got in the recent past many a time. We have here a snippet. Terrorist hideout in Jammu forests razed by army. There's one important word. And you should also recollect another word. What is that? Rage. Tell me what is the difference between a raise. Here it goes with hideout, means like a place, a building, a concrete structure. Erased means demolished, pull down or demolish. Very good aspirant. What is the other word? Rage means anger, fury. A different word, a different meaning altogether. Rage means anger, being furious, and erase, demolish, pull down. These two words you have to know for sure. US lists Baloch Liberation Army as terror group. Lists as something, as what? Terror group. And when you see lists as, you have to recollect an important rule. What is that? After verbs like consider, name, choose, call, we should not use as. This is considered as the best painting, right or wrong? Wrong. This is considered the best painting. That also you have to recollect. Coming to the pic, you can see a beautiful pic. And what does it say? Golden crest, scattered light, clouds creating a kaleidoscope. I don't know how many of you know this. Kaleidoscope. As kids, you must have tried kaleidoscope. It's a tubular structure. One end you have colorful glass pieces and triangular shape. Then when you look through that, you can see the different colors, different shapes. Something very colorful in this context. Kaleidoscope of colors in the evening sky over Vishakhapatnam on Monday. The visual effect is caused by the scattering of light through varying cloud densities and atmospheric particles. You can see a beautiful pic, but nothing to learn as such. Perhaps you have to, when you look at golden crest, means the top golden crest, and nature, you have to recollect words like, because it is Vishakhapatnam, a coastal city, seascape, landscape, seascape. Two important words you have to know. Coming to the next headline, Delhi stray dogs to be captured and never released, Supreme Court. Supreme Court has made a statement regarding stray dogs in Delhi, stray dogs in the capital city. Vizag is known as City of Destiny. I will tell you something interesting. I belong to Vizag, born and brought up in Vizag. In 1981, Sao Paulo of Brazil, the fastest developing city. In 1982, Vizag, the fastest developing city in the world. And 1983, it is Tokyo of Japan. And 1982, when Vizag became the fastest city in the world, it got the tag City of Destiny. It is known as City of Destiny. Here you can see stray dogs on the clamor. Clamor means noisy protest. To protect stray dogs, the court asked if activists can return children lost to rabid canines to parents. It's a dispute between animal activists and, you can say, a common man in the street. Common families, common people in the street, they're attacked by stray dogs. What is the other word for stray dogs? Street dogs. And they lose their children, natural, because of rabies. Now, animal activists say we should not kill stray dogs, we should not harm stray dogs. Based on that, Supreme Court has questioned. Fine, we will not touch the stray dogs. Can you return the children of those to the parents, those parents who lost their children? Can you return their children? Is it possible? Impossible. Based on that, Supreme Court says Delhi stray dogs to be captured and never released. Never released. They're not going to release. They may kill all the stray dogs. And sometimes you see children begging in the streets. And for those children also, we use stray children. They don't belong to anyone. And we also use the word street urchins. Have you heard of this any time? I don't think so, but make a note. Street urchins. Please respond. Have you heard of this any time? Street urchins. Hawkers, those who sell the stuff. Hawker is a different word. Street urchin. But actually, urchin has a different meaning. Sea urchin, you must have heard. It's a marine animal, invertebrate, lives in the oceans with spines all over, like a porcupine. But this is street urchins, means the stray children, beggars, children begging in the streets. Coming to next one, Israel kills Al Jazeera correspondent in Gaza. Intentional or deliberate or not deliberate, we don't know. But it is about Israel doing something, goes with a journalist. That's all from the front page of today's editorial. Let us go to today's editorial. Today's editorial, this is the enrichment, and let us see what is there to learn. It is all about an important one. It is about culture, it is about heritage, it is about relics, it is about artifacts. In the past, because during the medieval times and modern times also, foreign forces invaded India, they plundered India, and they took away precious treasures of India. Now, India is trying to get some of them back. It is about the relics of Buddha and his followers getting back to country. An important editorial. You may come across new words and something related to culture, definitely important. You have to read and you should know the lexical terms and word combinations. What is the very first word here? Repatriate. We have got this a few times. Repatriate means what? Part of speech verb, meaning the act of returning someone or something to their own country. Here, better word would have been to his or her or its own country. Return something back to country of origin. Word forms: repatriate verb, repatriated adjective, repatriation noun. Word combinations: repatriation of refugees, repatriation of cultural artifacts. This editorial talks about return of cultural artifacts, forced repatriation. But you have to recollect one word. What is the meaning of fugitive? You have to recollect, very good, aspirant, Naidu, and Vishnu. You have to recollect words like political turmoil, migration, immigrate, emigrate, exodus, refugees, fugitive. What is the meaning of fugitive? Persecution, diaspora, all the words you have to. Deportation, absconding, fugitive. A person who commits crime in a particular country absconds to some other country. We use the word fugitive. Synonyms: return, restitution, restoration, retrieval. Antonyms: exile, deportation, displacement, expatriation. Important words. Relics: anything related to culture, usually we use the word relics. Part of speech, noun, singular relic, plural relics, meaning objects from the past with historical, cultural, or religious value. Any hiding, you can say, any artifact, anything that has historical, cultural, or religious significance, we use the word relics. Word forms: relic singular, otherwise nothing. Word combinations: sacred relics. In this context, editorial context, sacred. What is the meaning of sacred? Holy, holy or sacred. Ancient relics, relics of the past. Word context in the passage: sacred remains linked to Lord Buddha and his followers. The mortal remains of Lord Buddha, they were brought back. That is a backdrop information. Synonyms: remains, artifacts. What is the meaning of artifact? If you go to villages, traditional crafts, they use hands and they create creative stuff. reflecting culture and religion. For those, we use the word artifacts. Vestiges, souvenirs, vestigial organs. Have you heard of that any time? Please respond. Vestigial organs. Holy dip, you have to recollect. Pilgrim, pilgrimage, aspirant, naidu, profane, sacrilege. Very good. I appreciate that. Better words. Remnants we are going to get. Remains. Here, vestigial organs means one zoologist, Lamarck, he proposed a theory, use and disuse. According to that theory, if you don't use a body part, slowly they become vestigial organs. Means they lose a function. In our body, there is one part called appendix. Appendix is known as vestigial organ, not excretory. No, no, no. No longer useful. And here, souvenirs. Souvenir, not souvenir. People mispronounce, not souvenir, souvenir. A thing that reminds you of a particular place. Imagine you went to Australia, and when you come back to remember Australia, you buy a boomerang. What is a boomerang? A wooden structure used for hunting by Aboriginal people or indigenous people. And surprisingly, it works on principles of aerodynamics. They buy boomerang as a souvenir. And if someone goes to Andaman and Nicobar Islands, they buy seashells as souvenirs. That's an important word. Souvenir has another meaning. This institute, imagine we have completed 100 years. We want to celebrate. And we release a book, who started, when it was started, and achievements or accomplishments. Then that book is also called souvenir, a different meaning altogether. Antonyms, modern objects, contemporary items. Here we have Naidu, the word remnants, remnant, part of speech noun, meaning small remaining parts or traces of something once larger. You can also think of the word ruins, remains of culturally important places, monuments. Word forms, remnants singular. Word combinations, remnants of a civilization, remnants of fabric, remnants of food. Word context in the passage or editorial refers to physical remains of associated with Buddha's body or disciples. Disciple, again, boomerang as a verb. You do something expecting a positive result, but on the contrary, you get a negative result. Then you have to use words like counterproductive. It has been counterproductive. And also, you have to say it has boomeranged. Boomerang as a verb, as a noun, different meanings altogether. Here, editorial talks about the mortal remnants of Lord Buddha and his disciples. What is the meaning of the word disciple? Follower. Synonyms, remains, leftovers, fragments, residue. Antonyms, whole, entirety, totality. Simple words. Steward has two different meanings. One meaning, the one who offers or provides food on flight. Man, steward, and woman, stewardess. But another meaning in this context, it can be a verb, it can be a noun. Meaning, one who manages or cares for something, to manage or protect something responsibly. In this context, protect. Word forms, steward, stewardship, an important word form. Stewardess, feminine gender, Old English. Word combinations, steward of heritage, environmental steward, good stewardship. Synonyms, caretaker, custodian, guardian, manager. Antonyms, neglector, destroyer, exploiter. This word also very important, hotel. Why hotel here? No, you cannot use volunteer. You cannot. Why hotel? I don't know. Manisha, you have to elaborate that. Flight attendant, yes. Curator, custodian, very good. Philanthropic. This word has been in the limelight. Why is it in the limelight? Actually, if you take Western culture, they believe in charity. And rich people in the West, they actually, they're all rich. We use the term, I've given many a time, affluent countries or societies or families means what? Rich, very rich. So what they do at the fag end of the career, they donate 50% or 60% towards charities. That act is called philanthropic, and the person is called philanthropist. Today it is in the limelight because though it is part of Western culture, today Indians also, industrialists, if you take Shiv Nadir of HCL, Premji of Wipro, and Reliance chairman, Tata's, Birlas, all these people, they have been contributing crores together towards the welfare of the mankind. And the word has come into limelight. Part of speech adjective, meaning showing a desire to promote the welfare of others, charitable. Philanthropist, person, noun, philanthropy, noun, act, philanthropically, adverb. Word combinations, philanthropic foundation, philanthropic gesture. Gesture is an important word. You have to recollect words like related to spending money. Negative words are what? Lavish, extravagant, spendthrift, prodigal. Positive words, frugal and thrifty. Some people don't spend money at all. Miser, stingy. All these you have to recollect. Philanthropic gesture. Gestures go with non-verbal communication. The way we use our hands, our fingers, eyebrows, all that. Benevolent means kind-hearted. Very good. Vishnu. Benevolent, it is there, I think. I will read out. Philanthropic gesture. Here, gesture means act. Act. I donate something or someone donates. That's a philanthropic gesture, means act. Philanthropic activities. Synonyms charitable, benevolent. See, it is here. Humanitarian, altruistic. Someone has mentioned altruistic. All these words are very important. I usually give one example. Very good, Naidu. Today, imagine there's a country. The country has everything, the natural resources, the manpower, hardworking people, everything is in place. But only one thing is missing discipline is missing. In that scenario, we need a benevolent dictator. Dictator is the one who rules with iron hands, iron fist, but bad intention. Here, good intention, benevolent despot, benevolent autocrat, benevolent dictator. That's a nice combination for those countries. Antonyms selfish, miserly, uncharitable, self centered. Now let us go to the editorial. Today's editorial is all about bringing back the mortal remnants of Lord Buddha and his disciples. An interesting, thought provoking editorial, and you may get as a passage. Chances are very bright because it goes with our culture, our heritage, our legacy, and it is our duty to protect. How does it start? Bringing them home. Bringing them home. Bringing what home? But when you read, you understand. Here, as a smart learner, the moment you see the word home, you have to think of two words, home and house. And also common error, get back to home. Here, reach to home. Two should not be there. Reach to home, that's a common error. Reach home. What is the difference between house and home? Wherever you live with your family, that is your home. That could be any place. House is only a structure, concrete structure. Bringing them home on the repatriation of the Piprava relics. Piprava relics. What is the main idea? India must have norms, must talk, has two functions. One, personal obligation. Second, idea that something is compulsory. Must do what? Must have norms. You all know the meaning of the word norms. Norms means what? Standards. To keep sacred relics from being sold. When you read the editorial, you understand. They wanted to sell the relics of Buddha in Hong Kong, and the auctioneer Sotheby's. Luckily, India could stop that auction. It could also bring back the relics of Lord Buddha. Now they are in one museum. Coming to the how does it start? The recent repatriation of the Piprawa relics, which were excavated in 1898 from a stupa in Uttar Pradesh, marked an important episode in India's cultural diplomacy efforts. It talks about bringing back the relics and sacred and also belong to Lord Buddha. The recent repatriation, here you got to be very careful. What is the subject here? The recent repatriation. Repatriation is a key word. And after that, all these words, you have to put in brackets. They add more information. Of the Piprawa relics, a phrase which were excavated in 1898 from a stupa in Uttar Pradesh, a clause, don't consider. Repatriation marked. This word, this is a verb. For that word, marked. See, in between so many, one phrase, one clause, if you can make out what exactly the subject is, and if you can identify the phrases and clauses between the subject and the verb, you're ready for the exam. Mark my words. The recent repatriation marked an important episode, means an important event, you can take it that way, in India's cultural diplomacy efforts. Considered to be, I have already told many a time, when you see, excavate here, dig out. If you take archaeologists, we cannot use the word dig. They feel bad, obviously, in a way, insulting. We have to use a better word. What is a better word? Excavate, excavations. And here, considered. Tell me, why is it important? After certain verbs, we should not use as. I have already told. Consider, name, choose, call. They have given many a time. This is considered as the best painting. Wrong. This is considered the best painting. Exhume also you have to. Very good, Naidu. Considered to be physical remnants or remains associated with Lord Buddha's mortal remains. Mortal. Man is mortal or immortal? Man is a mortal animal, but name and fame immortal. But physical aspect, mortal. Means death is inevitable for anyone, rich, poor, intelligent, not so intelligent. One thing no one can escape. What is that one? Death. Based on that, we say man is mortal, man is not immortal. But the name may remain immortal. Considered to be physical remnants associated with Lord Buddha's mortal remains and his early followers, they were taken away in the colonial era. They were taken away. You have just joined, I suppose. If you are from the beginning, you understand. I have already explained all those words. Sai Kiran, at the 11th hour, you cannot come and ask me to repeat everything. Coming to this, they were taken away. That is in passive voice. Britishers took away something. Something was taken away by Britishers. Here that you have to recollect. They were taken away in the colonial era. Britishers ruled many countries. And for that, we use two words. One is colonialism, colonies. We also use the word imperialism, an important word. Have you heard of this? We have got passages many a time. Actual exam also they gave imperialism, ruling other countries, taking the sovereignty of other countries. Colonial era time period and resurfaced for auction by Sotheby's in Hong Kong in May. I don't know how many of you know Sotheby, a leading organization. They are into auctioning artifacts, something very important, something that belongs to the past. And auction, you all know, bidding, auction. Sotheby's wanted to auction relics of Lord Buddha. That is not at all acceptable. Luckily, India could intervene, India could stop, and it could bring back the relics of Lord Buddha. And they wanted to auction in Hong Kong in May. At this point, the Indian government intervened. When they were about to sell, auction, Indian government resurface means for some time not in the limelight, for some time hidden. Again, something comes back into limelight, then we say resurfaced. At this point, the Indian government intervened to stop the auction, and repatriate the relics, bring back the relics. These artifacts, if you go to villages, you come across artisans. They use their hands, they make something that goes with culture heritage. And those products are called artifacts. Anything that has cultural significance. These artifacts now reside in the National Museum. Where are they right now? Because they have been brought back, they're in the National Museum, providing people the opportunity to engage directly with an irreplaceable piece of India's and Buddhism's heritage. Because in the museum, we can go have a look, and we get an opportunity to experience, to see, to have a look. And these, whatever they brought back, they represent India's and also Buddhism's heritage. Heritage, something that belongs to generations together, comes down. We use the word heritage. Notably, India's coordinated diplomatic effort. How could India achieve this? These sentences talk about, notably, India's coordinated diplomatic effort involving multiple ministries and its missions abroad could persuade. Persuade means to convince someone to do something. Here, stop auctioning. Dissuade, discourage someone from taking up something. Dissuade takes the preposition from. Persuade Sotheby's to postpone and eventually cancel the auction. Initially, Indian government intervened and convinced the Sotheby's to postpone. Later, they convinced to cancel the auction. And a private company, corporate company, played a crucial role. The next sentence talks about that. The Godrej Industries Group's ability to acquire. Acquire means what? To get. Both are different. Repatriation means bring back. It goes with the country origin, a particular country. We are talking from India's point of view. We use the word repatriation. Imagine someone has to be repatriated and the person is in the USA. The USA uses deportation. We use the word repatriation. Simple. Cancel the auction. The Godrej Industry Group's ability to acquire the relics through a negotiated arrangement with Sotheby's also reflects an innovative public-private partnership. Godrej company, the corporate company, could negotiate with Sotheby's, and that shows that it's like a good thing. It acts as a precedent, private or public-private partnership. Thus, the collaboration enabled the repatriation as well as the setting up a good precedent. What is the meaning of precedent? Collaborate means join hands with someone, work together. Precedent means something happened in the past, and we take that as an example. Then we say precedent, and that's a good precedent. For future recoveries, combining private sector resources with state authority. The episode also raised awareness worldwide about India's role as a steward of Buddhist heritage. Because India could intervene, could get back, it showed that India played a vital role, crucial role, and showed stewardship in bringing back or conserving Buddhist heritage. However, all the sentences, whatever I have read out, they talk about something positive. Now, something negative, contrasting information with the word however. However, the case has also revealed. Reveal means what? To make public, unveil, disclose, divulge. Certain structural deficiencies in the framework within which India operates to recover and safeguard its cultural assets. India is known for its cultural heritage and rich in culture. Usually, I say East or West Indian culture is the best. And cultural assets, when it comes to preserving, protecting cultural assets, editorial opines there are certain deficiencies in the framework, and it has to tell what those deficiencies are. The relics excavated during British administration originally had a fragmented ownership, not complete ownership. Fragmented means part, resulting in a complex legal status that vexed Vexed means to get frustrated. Repatriation claims a century later. India did not have complete ownership right, only fragmented. That resulted in some legal complications. Next, India's reactive posture. Proactive is always acceptable, not reactive. Reactive posture in the episode also reflected gaps in the existing legal, administrative, and preventive infrastructure to manage heritage. When it comes to managing heritage or cultural assets, it looks like there are some gaps, and these gaps go with administration, legal, and preventive infrastructure. That the auction was publicly announced and scheduled before India intervened is revealing. What happened here? Sotheby announced the date, and it announced the date of the venue and the date of auction before India could intervene. Luckily, India intervened, otherwise, they would have sold it. And that itself speaks volumes. Here, revealing means open, but better expression would have been it speaks volumes about the gaps. The case also exposed the absence of robust international legal frameworks designed to prevent the sale of culturally sensitive objects. There is no international framework or international structure, legal structure, which can prevent selling cultural heritage or cultural assets. While India used existing national laws and international negotiations effectively in this instance, it also banked on, I'm sure all of you know, bank on, rely on, depend on, count on diplomatic pressure, which is not a scalable solution. Diplomatic pressure you cannot increase, it's not a scalable thing. Scalable means you can increase, something can be taken to the higher level. We need something else. To address these gaps, the country needs a centralized, digitized registry of cultural assets, domestic and overseas, integrated with international customs and auction houses. We need something. Framework means outline, structure. What do we need? Centralized, digitized registry of cultural assets. Could be domestic, could be international, overseas, and they should be integrated with what? International customs and auction houses. For what? Why should we do that? For monitoring, proactive tracking, and to receive early alerts of potential sales. There should be some sort of tie-up, some sort of rapport with international organization, so that we come to know about the date of auction. It comes like an alert, and we have to monitor, we have to track. The government could also spearhead, an important word. Spearhead means to lead a particular thing in a particular direction, be a leader. The government could also spearhead or actively participate in international efforts to develop binding norms. Norms mean standards, binding standards to keep sacred relics, holy relics, from being commercialized. They cannot commercialize holy stuff, sacred stuff. For that, India has to play a vital role. Scaling up public private partnerships is equally imperative. Increasing public private partnership is equally imperative, means what? Important, vital, crucial, together with encouraging the involvement of diverse stakeholders, including philanthropic foundations, heritage trusts, to mobilize additional resources and expertise for recovery and conservation. All these sentences, the last three sentences, talk about solutions, remedies. First one talks about international cooperation and being proactive international efforts when it comes to international efforts, taking the lead, spearhead the movement. Then it talks about public private partnerships, together with an important expression, involvement of diverse stakeholders, philanthropic foundations, heritage trusts. Why should they take the help of all these bodies or organizations? To mobilize additional resources and expertise. Expertise means what? Skill in a particular field. For recovery, one thing, and conservation, another thing. It ends on that particular note, I suppose. Yes. Yes. Now let us go to questions based on this editorial, an important one. First question: what is the theme of the passage? To answer questions based on title, theme, central idea, tone, you have to read the entire passage. Without reading the passage, you cannot. Since you have listened to me, you should be able to. Central theme. One, Pravalika, first one, oh, Naidu, Paidi, Vishnu, all these, Shyamala, Manisha. What is B? India's successful diplomatic effort to repatriate sacred relics and the need for stronger heritage protection measures. Very good. B is the answer. What is a tone? It is all about appreciating Indian government's intervention, but at the same time, suggesting solutions means cautionary stuff. You cannot use the word sarcastic, you cannot use indifferent, you cannot use hostile. Hostile means what? Enmity, antagonistic nature. What is the answer? Appreciative, yet cautionary. The writer appreciated timely intervention of the Indian government and public-private partnership, but at the same time, so many gaps are there. Based on the gaps, a word of caution, cautionary. Very good. B is the answer. Is it B? Yes. Who intervened to stop the Sotheby's auction of the Piprawa relics? Who intervened? In the editorial, you see the word intervened. Same word has been used here, and you cannot go off their track to answer. Many students, I don't, let us see here. A is not the answer. In the editorial, clearly mentioned, Indian government intervened. Same words. Based on that, the Indian government through diplomatic channels. Indian government intervened. Implicit information. Implicit means implied, indirect. What can be inferred about India's current heritage protection system from the passage? Current system to protect Indian culture, Indian heritage, what can be inferred? Question number 4. It is entirely effective. No. It lacks proactive monitoring mechanisms for cultural assets. It lacks something clearly stated, not directly but indirectly. B is the answer. We have to create centralized digital registry and relies only on private companies, also not correct. Answer is B. What is the writer's stance or stand on public private partnerships in cultural asset recovery? What does the writer think when it comes to public private partnership, when it comes to recovering cultural assets? Writer has taken a positive stand. Based on that, they are unnecessary negative word. They should be avoided negative. They should replace negative. They are valuable and should be scaled up. We have to increase. We need to go in for more partnerships, public-private partnerships. That's all for today. And today I haven't brought mini mocks. Tomorrow I will bring. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. Have a nice day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Andy.